Imagine you're 200,000 miles from Earth in a spacecraft and you hear, "Houston, we've had a problem." That's the fun the Apollo 13 crew had in 1970. Picture this: a critical mission, a skilled crew, and an unexpected hiccup in the vast, unforgiving expanse of space. The suspense, the uncertainty, the sheer drama of it all. It's the stuff of legends, the kind of story that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Now, you might be wondering, what happened next? Buckle up, space cowboy. It's story time. April 11th, 1970. A fine day for a moon landing, wouldn't you say? Well, that was the plan. Apollo 13, the third mission intended to land on the moon, was all set to make its mark in history. The mission's objective was nothing less than audacious, landing 2 of its crew members on the moon and then safely returning them back to Earth. The crew, a trio of seasoned astronauts, were as ready as they could be. James Lovell, the commander, was a space veteran. Jack Swigert, the command module pilot, was an expert in orbital mechanics, and rounding out the crew was Fred Haise, the lunar module pilot, whose job was to land the lunar module on the moon's surface. The launch, watched by millions around the globe, was picture perfect. The Saturn V rocket, with Apollo 13 sitting atop, roared to life and lifted off, leaving a trail of fire and smoke in its wake. The crew was en route to the moon. However, 2 days into their journey, the unexpected happened. An oxygen tank in the service module exploded. This wasn't a minor hiccup, it was a critical failure. The explosion caused a significant reduction in life support capability. In simpler terms, Apollo 13 was in trouble. Serious trouble. The moon landing was quickly scrapped. The new mission objective? Get the crew back home, alive. Apollo 13 had become a lifeboat in space. The situation was grim. The crew and mission control on Earth had to scramble to figure out how to keep the astronauts alive and get them back safely. The crew was stuck in a spacecraft hurtling through the cold, unforgiving vacuum of space, with a busted engine and dwindling life support. They were over 200,000 miles from home, way beyond any help from Earth. So there they were, stuck in a tin can with a busted engine, way beyond 8 AA's service range. Now, imagine you're NASA. Your boys are stuck in space and you've got to get them back. No pressure, right? So here's the situation. We've got 3 astronauts in a damaged spacecraft, a little over 200,000 miles from Earth, and a rapidly rising carbon dioxide level that's threatening to knock them out cold. Talk about a deep space pickle. So, what does NASA do? They could have panicked. They could have thrown in the towel. But no, they rolled up their sleeves and got down to some good old-fashioned problem solving. The first order of business was to figure out a way to reduce the carbon dioxide levels in the craft. The solution? An improvised filter made from materials on board. It was kind of like an intergalactic MacGyver moment. Duct tape, plastic bags and cardboard, all cobbled together to make a life-saving device. But let's not forget about the power issue. The lunar module, which was now being used as a lifeboat, wasn't designed to support 3 astronauts for 4 days. So, the boffins at NASA had to come up with a new power-up procedure, a sequence so complex it was like playing a game of celestial chess. And then there was the small matter of navigation. With the onboard computers out of commission, the crew had to use the stars to navigate their way back home. Just imagine using the same techniques as ancient mariners, but in the vacuum of space. Throughout this entire odyssey, the one thing that stands out is the sheer ingenuity and resilience of the human spirit. It was a masterclass in how to turn a potential disaster into a triumphant return. But the real hero of the story? That's right, it's duct tape. It held the improvised filter together, and it quite literally kept the crew alive. So the next time you're in a bind, remember, there's very little that can't be fixed with the roll of duct tape. Who knew duct tape could literally be a lifesaver, huh? With a bit of duct tape and a whole lot of brainpower, our intrepid explorers were on their way back. Picture this, if you will. The spacecraft, a tiny dot against the vast expanse of space, hurtling towards Earth at mind-boggling speed. Sweating bullets, millions of people around the globe waited with bated breath, their eyes glued to their television screens, their hearts pounding in unison. The tension was palpable, as thick as the smoke from a rocket's exhaust. Then came the re-entry, a fiery descent through Earth's atmosphere. Would the heat shield hold up? Would the astronauts make it through this final harrowing trial? The world held its collective breath. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the word came through. The crew of Apollo 13 had safely splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. A wave of relief swept across the planet. Cheers erupted. Tears flowed. The impossible had been accomplished. And they all lived happily ever after. Well, until the next mission, that is. So, what's the takeaway from Apollo 13's wild ride? Let's recap. Apollo 13, despite being labeled a successful failure, showed us the power of human resilience and ingenuity. When faced with life-threatening adversity hundreds of thousands of miles from home, the crew and ground team turned a potential catastrophe into a testament of triumph over adversity. It taught us that even in space, where nothing is guaranteed, success is possible. Remember, folks, in space, no one can hear you scream, but they can definitely hear you say, "Houston, we've had a problem."